Even though we're still a few months away from the full release of Ghost of Yotei, so far things have not been going smoothly for this title. People are pretty disappointed that they're not continuing Jin Sakai's storyline. The lead actress is a radical activist, and to top all of that off, the latest state of play showed off some pretty meh upgrades, and people are generally unhappy with what they're seeing. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, I absolutely love Ghost of Tsushima, and I would love for this sequel to be good. I would love for all of these fears leading up to release to be unfounded. I hope it comes out and it's a phenomenal experience, but from what we have seen and heard about this title so far, I definitely am raising a lot of red flags. I'm definitely a little bit nervous. Now, obviously, not continuing Jin Sakai's story was a major problem for a lot of people, and I'm not necessarily mad that they're, bumping the time period forward and they are highlighting a new character, but I am definitely disappointed because he had so much potential. And I would have loved to see where Jin's story continued, like where it continued to go after he fully embraced becoming the ghost and the consequences with the Shogun. After Tsushima, I would have loved to see what they did continuing forward with the Mongols. Like, there's just a lot of potential there still, in my opinion, but of course, that's not the direction they went with, and that had people very worried that basically they just wanted to push another girl boss and they wanted to get rid of this male character that we all knew and were really falling in love with because his story was so good in the first game. Now, if this female character in the game is genuinely insufferable, we don't know if that's going to happen. We don't know if this is necessarily going to be woke, but it seems that they picked a very specific actress because this actress had actually worked on Dragon Age the Veilguard with several of the senior writers on Yotei, which definitely doesn't sit well with me. I mean, some of these people had written absolute slop in the past, people who are just not very good at their job, at least in my opinion. Beyond their involvement in Dragon Age the Veilguard, Dumbrow and Woods have worked on several games that were widely regarded as failures. Both were part of the teams behind Mass Effect Andromeda and Anthem, two titles infamous for lackluster storytelling and massive disappointments at launch. Whenever I see names like this on a project, I instantly become worried because these are not people who have major wins under their belt. Maybe they have like one or two failures maximum. That's just not the case here. So that didn't strike me as very good. And then, of course, you have Erika Ishii, who, yes, also did work on Dragon Age the Veilguard. She's been part of some really questionable projects as well. Besides that, though, she is very vocal on social media. And I say this all the time. People are allowed to have their own opinions, and they can voice them online. But they have to, number one, understand they are representing, now in this case, Sony and Sucker Punch, and they're representing the Ghost series that they're trying to make. And you are also actively pushing away potential customers by coming out and calling people bigots or ists and phobes for having, in this case, a political leaning you personally do not agree with. And if that translates at all into her character, if the kind of modern day identity politics this person often pushes end up being in the game at all, that is going to be a major problem. Again, we do not know if that is going to happen, and I would love for all of these worries to be unfounded when the game launches. But clearly there is a pattern of these types of people working on games, and then the game comes out and it's absolute slop. She has said in the past, "We will not let these terrorists shake our resolve. 2020 showed us that we will rise up and make our voices heard. Despite voter suppression, facing down a white supremacist police force, risking health and safety, we hit the polls and streets to say no more. They can't stop us. Historically, the answer to an attempted coup is to never acknowledge its legitimacy. We will not ignore this. We will treat these terrorist thugs like the unlawful mob they are and hold accountable those responsible for this." Thomas Hart, another person that is a part of this project, a community manager, right, had talked about Sweet Baby Inc., saying this whole controversy is mind-numbingly dumb. Most people have no idea how games are made or what a consultant does. Many do not even care to listen when someone tries to explain it to them. They would much rather have an other to demonize, which of course we've heard many times. We even heard Alyssa Mercante saying Sweet Baby Inc. doesn't do what you think they do, when they do exactly what you believe they do. They take a product, they sanitize it, and then they convince you that you are the problem for wanting that content unsanitized in the first place. That's just what cultural Marxists do, though. And now, of course, we're getting some new gameplay, we're getting some new information about Yotei, and it's not going over particularly good for PlayStation. So they had actually posted this over on their social media saying, will you be stealth, ranged, or melee focused? Discover and customize Arbor to match your preferred playstyle in Ghost of Yotei. A lot of people are pointing out how some of this just looks really rough around the edges, like this image right here. That just does not look very good, in my opinion and many other people's opinions. And there's people saying straight up, no. You know, it's taking a troubling turn. We have major concerns. They are not excited for it, or they will maybe even not be playing it. I'll be non-binary. How's that sound? Sony, why do you strip women of all female charm in your games? Who is this game catering to? Now, there's lots of people screenshotting Erica's statements in the past about like abolishing the police and how basically if you are involved with law enforcement or you support law enforcement, you're just a terrible person. Imagine coming home from work and playing as the below average man, and I'm sure that this game is still going to sell a hell of a lot of copies. That Tsushima nostalgia is very real. It's very strong. Even I feel it quite a bit. I mean, I think that some of the shots that we have seen so far do look good in this game. I'm not saying it completely looks terrible all around. I just definitely have a lot of worries at this point, like a lot of other people do. A lot of this does kind of seem pretty cringe, like the way that they're trying to market the game, like with her and some of these shots, like this armor looks really bad. Maybe they just don't genuinely know how to market a game towards gamers anymore, because there's no way you're going to see that and go, yeah, that looks pretty cool with like the bright like purple and red combo. It just doesn't look very solid in my opinion. The blue and the red actually looks pretty good, but there's just a lot going on. And here is another post that features Erika Ishii, and she is seemingly training. And a lot of people are either making fun of her stance or just this video. And of course, the way that they are presenting this is if she actually is trying her damnedest and her hardest to, you know, live as this role, and she's trying to learn about. Does she actually care? Maybe not. Of course, it is just promo material at the end of the day, but a lot of people are pointing out just how goofy she kind of looks. I'm sorry, was her name Atsu or Fatsu? Fatsu here, proving our point. Nope, she is huge. What have you ever achieved in your life? Shockingly little, I'm sure. People are saying attack the opponent instead of the argument, of course, because they don't have a legitimate argument to levy in this case. Yeah, man, I've always wanted to be a kind of fat, Antifa-coded lesbian, obviously. I think that this is just so funny. That's a they, them, if I ever saw one. So we'll definitely have to see how this game turns out. But right now, there's a lot of backlash surrounding this title, and it's just not looking good for PlayStation. What could have been an easy win for them if they had just continued Jin's story turned into potentially Girl Boss the game, right? It's still a few months away. Maybe their marketing material truly and genuinely is just so bad and it's not doing any justice for this game. I'd love to sit here and cope all day and be proven wrong. I just highly doubt it. When there is a long list of problems surrounding a game like this, typically the product comes out and it is absolutely fucking trash. Will this be as bad as something like Assassin's Creed Shadows? Who knows? But of course, this looks like a game that you have to be very cautious about. So I'll definitely be keeping my eye on this situation. But right now, PlayStation is facing quite a bit of backlash surrounding Ghost of Yotei, and it's really not looking good for Sucker Punch or Erika Ishii. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.